Hello, Scorpios, and welcome to this, your final reading of 2023. Can you believe we are actually at the end of the year? Okay, my name is Marnie, also known as Intuitive Butterfly. If you are new here, thank you so much for trusting and clicking on this video. And if you are rejoining any of my readings, thank you so much for continuing to support my channel. Couple of announcements before we dive in. By the time this video is released, I will have posted opening days and times and appointments for my annual promotion, my annual 13 card reading. I only offer this once per year. It's on sale from December 15th until January 15th. It is a reading that will give you an overview of what's coming up for you for all of 2024. I pull a card for each of the 12 months specifically for you. I read those cards, and I also pull an anchor card that helps to tie the whole reading together and gives you a general overall feeling of the energy that will be predominantly influencing your life in 2024. If you are interested in having a 13 card private reading, it is an amazing deal. It is $90 Canadian. It doesn't matter where you are coming to me from in the world. It's $90 Canadian, and that will provide you with 1 hour of my time as well as this 13 card reading. I will leave a link in the description below if you are interested in booking. Okay, on with your reading, Scorpio. In the last reading that I did for you for the first half of December, what came up was some deep Hierophant type work that you needed to be working on. The cards indicated that in order for you to be able to do that deep Hierophant work, you needed to be slowing down and tapping into intuition and meditation. So without any further ado, let's start to pull some cards for you. The cards that I'm going to be pulling are going to come from several different tarot decks as well as oracle card decks. I do have a brand new deck that I'm still getting used to using. It is the Everyday Witch by Deborah Blake. It is a little mini deck, which I ordered specifically so that I can always have something in my purse. And let's get started. We're going to start off here. For those of you who are new here and are perhaps unfamiliar with Intuitive Butterfly and me, I do not edit my videos. What you see is what you get. If I stumble over my words, if I happen to have cards land on the floor, which I just did, so be it. It's all part of doing authentic readings for everyone. Okay. So the first card in your reading is the Five of Swords. Now, the Five of Swords suggests that there's a double-edged nature to something that's going on in your life, and that in order for you to kind of get over this hump, there is something that you're going to have to walk away from. If you look at the picture on this card, and I know my light's reflecting on it badly, but if you look at the image on this card, you have this character here who is walking away from these two characters who also appear to be walking away from this character. So there is this separation that has to be developed at this time. There's a walking away that has to happen. Now, part of the reason that I was kind of smiling and chuckling to myself as this card came up for you, Scorpio, is that last reading I did for you for the beginning of December indicated that you needed to do some Hierophant work. And deep Hierophant work is work that requires you to look at the belief systems that have been influencing you for a long time, consciously as well as unconsciously. And when you tap into deep Hierophant work, what happens is you will drop or change or shift some of your belief systems. And when that happens, people in your life begin to look at you differently, and you begin to look at people who have been in your life for a long time differently. There's a huge change or a huge shift that can happen. And this can feel lonely at times. It can feel empowering at other times. So it is a double-edged sword when we begin to do deep Hierophant work. So it's not really super surprising that we see this Five of Swords coming up for you right now, because there is this double-edged nature that's happening as you are experiencing this. Hey, that belief system that I've been carrying around isn't working for me anymore. I need to let go of that. And when you let go of it, so too will certain people come out of your life. They will leave your life. But by the same token, new people will also have an opportunity to step in as you change and shift your belief system. So actually, it's kind of a beautiful thing. It's a synchronicity, and it's also that continuation and that proof that things are going the way that the cards had shown us last month, and they're going the way that they were intended. Let's go into what you are currently focusing on. What are Scorpios focusing on for the last half of December, the latter part of the year? Where are they putting their attentions? Oop. And we have another card of confirmation for you. Actually, two cards of confirmation for you that you are in fact on the right path, and that what you are seeing and doing, and this sort of awakening that you're having as a result of the Hierophant work that you did earlier this month, is taking you in a new direction. And the card that I'm referring to here is the New Vision card. Now, this card is the number 12 card of the major arcana of the tarot. This card corresponds to the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is all about seeing things with new vision, seeing things from a different perspective. As most of you who are familiar with the tarot will know, the Hanged Man is always depicted as a character hanging upside down, the same way that when we were children and we used to hang upside down on monkey bars, it would look really funny to us because all of our friends would look like they were upside down, but really we were the ones that were upside down, and we would look funny to all of our friends because our hair would be sticking out from gravity, and it was just kind of a fun thing to do. So in the past, people used to interpret receiving the Hanged Man as a bad omen in tarot, but really receiving the Hanged Man in the tarot is a positive, beautiful card, because it shows that we are having an extreme growth pattern at that time, that we are able to see the bigger picture. We are able to see possible deceptions that have been happening, or possible beliefs that were kind of pushed upon us or forced upon us by the institutions that the Hierophant refers to. And all of a sudden we can say, and it allows us to open up to be able to make decisions for ourselves with a clearer mind and a clearer conscience. Now, the other card that we have here for you is the Understanding card. And I'm not sure if I can get this fully into focus because of my lighting, but you'll have to just trust me when I tell you that across the top, I'm just going to turn that off for a minute. Yeah. Okay. Across the top of this card, you have a number of birds, and they are flying outside of the cage, and they are the same kind of bird that this particular bird is. But this bird is still sitting inside the cage, despite the fact that there is an opening in the cage door. What this card is talking about is our greater understanding of the freedoms that we have, that we are entitled to as human beings on this planet, and as well taking it down from sort of that global perspective that I just went into with regards to, humans actually being free. We should be. It was always the intention for us to be free, but unfortunately, as is human nature, there is the desire to control, and we've fallen into that. But I don't want to get into that. It's a very divisive conversation. But even when we go into our own personal lives, for example, into relationships, let's use relationships as the example here. So when we're in a relationship and the relationship starts to turn sour, many people, and for those of you who are not familiar with me, I'm not only a psychic, I'm also a certified hypnotherapist, and I'm also a certified counselor. So I deal with these kinds of issues all of the time. And one of the things that I deal with all the time is when people are in the process of a relationship breakdown, people always say, "Oh, I can't leave." Why not? Well, because of money. Oh, because of my family. Oh, because of belief systems. Oh, because of the children. Oh, because of this. When you really, really break things down to the bare minimum, do you have the free will and the ability to leave an unhappy relationship? The answer is always yes. And all of the other things that I just mentioned, the children, the familial judgment, the religious judgment, the financial aspect, the I don't know where I'm going to live, the all of those factors are in fact part of a cage that happens to have an open door. And you can choose to go through that door whenever you want. When you come from life from that perspective, the perspective of knowing that whatever situation you find yourself in life, there's always an open door. Always. It may not be attractive outside of the cage. It may be scary outside of the cage. It may be intimidating and frightening because you're stepping into the unknown. But that is the excitement of life. When we recognize and realize that any cage that we perceive ourselves in is of our own making, and we have the free will to decide if we want to be inside or outside that cage. And that is what, oh, there's a fly. See, I told you I don't edit my videos. It's always fun. That is what the Hanged Man and the Hierophant lessons from last reading are all about. Being able to see this bigger picture, this greater understanding. All right, Scorpio, I went into a lot of detail there, probably for some of you unnecessary, for some of you absolutely necessary to hear all of that. So that brings me to the next card that I'm going to pull for you, which is going to be difficult influences and challenges. As you are going through this greater realization of how powerful you really are in your own life, Scorpio, there are going to be some challenges that you're going to face, but those can be minimized and mitigated by this new vision and seeing things from a different perspective, right? Challenges. Yeah. Challenges, difficult influences for Scorpio. We do have two cards that popped out. I can't see one of them. It popped out underneath one, but we have the lady. We have the lady as one. Yeah. Okay. The one card makes a lot of sense, and it'll make sense in just a moment here, Scorpio. But we have the lady enjoying growth and reaping the rewards. This card came up in your difficult influences. Now, this card coming up in your difficult influences because as you are going through this change and this shift, it may feel like you are unable to really, really enjoy life because it is a shift. But if you perceive this shift rather than being an extremely difficult situation, perceive it as, oh, geez, I have to wear grandma's itchy sweater through the holidays. But following the holidays, I can take that itchy sweater off. For some of you, you may understand what I'm talking about with regards to itchy sweaters. But for many of us from my generation, our grandmothers used to knit with wool that was itchy and scratchy. And then at Christmas time, you'd get this itchy, scratchy sweater, and you felt obligated to put this itchy, scratchy sweater on because your grandma had put so much time and effort into knitting this sweater for you. And the whole time you were just sitting there going, this, I don't want to be here. I don't want to, it's itchy. But it was also a temporary situation. And when we look at the Hierophant lessons, as well as the Hanged Man and the Understanding card lessons, we recognize that we didn't really have to put the sweater on, but we did, which kept us in the cage because of the judgments that we would have received if we had refused to put the itchy sweater on. Do you see what I'm saying? Everything can be related back to this in our lives, right down from itchy sweaters all the way up to huge, big concepts of being controlled by certain facets of society, shall we say. So this card coming up in your difficult influences is saying that you are wearing that itchy sweater right now. This growth and the rewards that come from this growth are uncomfortable for you. But it is something that you are experiencing, and there's nothing wrong with that. And the other card that came up in your difficult influences that makes perfect sense is the Elder. And this is the card of move beyond ancestral patterns. Why does this make sense? Because you're moving out of the patterns and belief systems that have been long held for you. And as you move out of those, it is a struggle, and there is going to be a challenge or difficulty in sort of staying with it. You know it's good for you to step into these changes, and yet every once in a while there's that, I just want things to go back to the way they were. And so there is kind of this flip-flop, this double-edged sword that came up here. But eventually, the old life will feel uncomfortable. Scorpio, let's move into messages from the universe, messages that the universe wants you to hear at this time. Okay, we have confirmation of the lady, the enjoy growth and reap the rewards here in the messages that the universe wants you to hear. Focus on the positive. Exactly. Don't focus on the itchy sweater. Focus on the moment that you're going to have an opportunity to take that sweater off. And whether taking that sweater off is you stepping into your power and taking it off in a time that would be deemed inappropriate by the family members, or take that sweater off afterwards and concentrate on that. Focus on the positive, focus on the outcome that's going to happen as a result of this change or this shift that you're going through. The next cards we're going to move into are going to be unexpected. Unexpected influences and insights for Scorpio for the last half of December. I do want to point out as well, the timing for all of this to be happening for you, Scorpio, is actually really beautiful because it's making me feel like by springtime, you are going to, oh, geez, half of the deck of cards just went flying. It's making me feel that by springtime, which is the perfect time to be planting seeds for new ideas, new growth, you're going to be in a very good position for that to happen. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, We have 9 cards out for your unexpected, and I think really, if you have that much coming up in your unexpected, there's probably going to be a bit of overwhelm there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collect up all of these cards and I'm going to mix them up again and see what comes out for you that will give us a more precise or concise reading for you here, Scorpio. As what's coming up in unexpected. That one, because it will not go back into the rest of the deck. And what else? Is there anything else unexpected for the Scorpios? Yep, there's one more there. Actually, that one too. Okay. Here we go. We have the Princess of Winter. We have the Five of Autumn. That's the Five of Pentacles. And we have the Eight of Spring. So we will start in the order in which the cards came out. The first card that we have is the Princess of Winter. And the Princess of Winter corresponds to the Page of Swords. This is a card indicating that there is information that's going to be coming to you. Again, these are your unexpected. There's information that's going to be coming to you in the coming weeks and days that you need to hear, but you don't want to hear it. But it is necessary for you to hear that information. I can't really add anything else to that particular card, so I won't. We have the Five of Autumn here, also known as the Five of Pentacles. Now, we did start off your reading with the Five of Swords. We now have the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles is a card indicating that at some point in time, you may be feeling like you need to reach out to others for help and assistance during the latter half of December. Is there any problem with that? Absolutely not, other than us getting over our own egos, Scorpio. When a card comes up saying, ask for advice and assistance, we might as well do it. We've got nothing to lose other than, whatever our ego says we're going to lose by having to ask for help. And finally, in your unexpected, you have the Eight of Spring, also known as the Eight of Wands. And this is the juggling card. This is the card of, oh, shoot, I may have put a few too many things up in the air, few too many balls up there in the air, and I'm having a little bit of difficulty trying to keep them all up in the air. You'll notice that the fairy on this card has this one falling because she wasn't able to keep all of these ideas and events and activities all up in the air. She wasn't able to juggle quite that much. So this is what's coming up for you in your unexpected information that you need to hear but don't necessarily want to hear. That may be coming as a result of this Five of Autumn, which is the card of ask for help or assistance and guidance. And finally, just watch for a little bit of overwhelm in the latter half of December here, Scorpio. This may be this card coming up for you right now. I'm feeling it's more about the time of the year and that just pay attention to your social calendar moving into the latter half. So many of us have travel on our plates. There are perhaps company holiday parties. There's a lot going on at this time of the year, including getting together with family members, which we may or may not get along with. All of these things are coming up, and it may feel like we are having to juggle too much right now. One of the ways that we can get around this, Scorpio, is lean back into the practice that you were guided towards with your last reading, and that is going into a deeper practice of meditation and slowing down. Let's move into your final general overall outcome. Where are we going? Oh, I am getting called to about 3 different decks here. They all want to come out and speak to you for the end of the year. Final general overall outcome. We're going to close our eyes again. We're going to pick a card from there. And then there's going to be another card from there. So Final general overall outcome for Scorpio. Final cards of 2023. Exactly what I sensed. One card from this deck. And before I even look at it, it did land face down. So I'm not going to look at it just yet. Where else are we going for final general overall outcome? For the Scorpios, we're going to go right here to this deck and see what else comes out. All right, let's go through the deck one more time because your particular card did not come out. Final general overall outcome for Scorpio. There we go. 2 cards out. Okay. So in the order in which they came out, let's turn this card over. You have Scorpio. You have the Hierophant. Again, the Hierophant is coming out as part of your final general overall outcome, which is indicating that the work that you began at the beginning of December is continuing in through the end of December and probably into the beginning of January as well. Now, for those of you that missed my last video, the video for December 1st through December 15th, you may want to go back, and I took a really deep dive into the Hierophant and the Hierophant type work. You may want to go back and watch that video for the purposes of having clarity on exactly what this card means. But just very briefly, this card is asking you to look at the institutions that influence your life. That includes your family, society, religion, education, the work institution, the environment in which you live, the institution of marriage. All of these things are institutions. This card asks you to look at those institutions and determine for yourself from your adult mind, from your experiences that you've had up until this point in your life, what still serves my highest good and what belief system has been influencing me that I no longer need, and release that. Okay. That's just a kind of a brief one. And your other 2 cards for your final general overall outcome, Scorpio, are Rain and Renewal. Beautiful card. This card is all about letting go, letting water wash away whatever has been influencing you that you want to let go of, and allowing for new and beautiful things to come out. I do want to point out that when this card comes out, there is a call towards using water for release. Now, whether that means going out and singing in the rain and dancing in the streets as the rain's coming down and having people look at you and go, okay, that was funny. Whether this means going to a spa that works with water for the purposes of helping you to release, whether this is just taking time for self-care and having a long hot bath with a do not disturb sign on the bathroom door, whatever it looks like for you to use water for your own self-care, Scorpio, this card is encouraging you to do that so that you can feel refreshed and be prepared to step into this renewal that's happening right now. And the final card that we have for you in your reading is the Eagle. Now, this card represents vision. This card represents being able to see things from a higher perspective, which is exactly the work of the Hierophant, as well as the work of the Hanged Man and the New Vision card. Oh my goodness. I am super excited for Scorpios for 2024 because you are experiencing some really huge changes and shifts, and being able to really see the higher perspective and see things from a different viewpoint. And that is going to help you to change and shift big time. All right, Scorpio, thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. If this video resonated, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel so you'll know when I release my next video. Also, Just a reminder, if you are interested in having a private consultation with me, I will leave the link in the description below for the 13 card reading special that is only going to be available through until January the 15th. Thank you so much, everyone.